Hello and welcome to The Last Tackle. It was a dramatic week in the Betfred Challenge Cup and the holders are out.
Last 16 of the Betfred Challenge Cup. Knockout football. Ball flown away to Felt. Felt in the corner. What a finish that might be.
Comes off the whole hand, a fresh set of six, and here could be the first try. And Wigan get things started.
Sailor could be in for Saints, and from nothing again, Saints are over.
Fine Smith sells the dummy. He's got support. Oh, wonderful! Taken by Martin, the support on the inside, but he's going himself. Martin goes himself.
And it could be in here. Newman over the line. Has he got that ball down? He has.
Out to Caesar. The space again for Martin, who goes for the corner. And as Lewis Martin just sent Hull FC into the Challenge Cup quarter-finals.
This St Helens that march on to the Betfred Challenge Cup quarter-finals.
Yeah, the Betfred Challenge Cup, dramatic week, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Eddie Hemmings alongside me, and Kev Brown, good to see you, gents. We'll talk about Wigan very, very shortly. Let's talk about the game that was live on the Sportsman, St Helens versus Leeds, and it was, it was job done, wasn't it, by the Saints?
They did very well, didn't they? I honestly expected a little bit more from the Leeds Rhinos. I think they're going through a bit of a patch at the moment. You know, they've got some big injuries. Cam Smith's been out for a long time. Andy Ackers is now gone. What puzzled me about the weekend was Jared O'Connor, the natural replacement for Andy Ackers, not even on the bench. He was 18th man for the Leeds Rhinos. I thought that was a bit of a ricket. But having said that, I mean, St Helens, you put the Challenge Cup in front of them and they always come alive, don't they? And they dealt with their problems a lot better than the Leeds Rhinos did. Great win for Saints. Fabulous win for them.
I think it's probably something we've been saying for the last couple of seasons. I'm not sure where Leeds are at.
Well, I think they're in a much better position this year under Brad Arthur. I think defensively they look a lot stronger. I agree with Eddie. I think the gamble didn't pay off. Andy Ackers normally plays 70, 75 minutes, and I think, you know, young Sinfield was on the bench to cover a variety of positions, but doing 40 minutes in the middle of the field at Saints for any hooker is difficult, but for someone who doesn't normally play there, so I thought that didn't pay off. I'm really liking the look of Tristan Sailor though at Saints. I think if Saints get the kicking game sorted, because that's one negative I still think is allowing teams to come back at them, but I think Tristan Sailor, he looks all the superstardom that we expected and more, but I do feel if they get the kicking game right, they'll be very, very well placed to making a real shout at both competitions at the back end of the year.
It's also about injuries, isn't it? Kyle Felt is out apparently for this weekend. He's aggravated the problem he had going into the Challenge Cup tie, and he's out for a good long while, so they've not got two wingers now. They've lost both wingers on either side. The Saints, you have to hope they've got the youngsters there to come through and cover.
They've got Deon Sambu, who's a winger. They've got Owen Dagnall. And they've also got T. Ritson still there.
Yes, he's going to come back off loan, isn't he?
Yeah, so they have got quality, and you know that's what Saints and Wigan and Warrington have. They've got a lot of juniors, haven't they?
We'll talk about the other games shortly, but let's say from the man of the match from that game, let's say from Morgan Knowles.
Yeah, no, it was really tough. You know, especially that first half. You know, it was set for set, and you know, Leeds are right in it. You know, they're a great team. You know, we definitely had to earn it tonight, and a lot of hard work went into it, and you know, got some points there in that second half. But yeah, really hard fought win.
You mentioned the hard work there. Obviously, your forwards were absolutely immense tonight, but yourself in particular, one of the reasons you got that player of the match was the big minutes you put in. Your work ethic whilst you were on the field. I think you put in something like 77 minutes there. Just how on earth did you get through that personally?
Well, you know, it's not just me. You know, there's, you know, my job's made a lot easier by, you know, people around me, and you know, the lads coming on, bringing loads of energy. You know, they're carrying more than I am, and yeah, you know, happy to body be feeling well and getting a few minutes in, but you know, it's credit to the team. The team. You know, I'm just a small part of the you know, a little cog in the machine that is our team, and yeah, happy to get the win.
So where do you think St Helens are at then?
I think they've definitely improved. I think defensively, it's night and day from last year. I think they're really solid. They're difficult to to score against, but attack-wise, I think the longer Lee Breers and Paul Wellens have with that side, I think they're a real chance of, sending that man, the player of the match, Morgan Knowles, out on a high before he goes to the NRL this year.
Saints better this term, man.
I think
yes,
there's a lot of soul searching
in the summer, wasn't there?
Well, there must have been,
mustn't there? Pre-season.
There must have been a lot of soul searching, because you would expect St Helens to be there or thereabouts each and every year, particularly after the recent past where they won, championship after championship, Super League Grand Final after Super League Grand Final. They weren't on the metal last year. I thought when Lee Breers was signed for them to work alongside Paul Wellens, I thought he would be a key figure. It looks like he is. I mean, I assume will be doing the kicking and the attacking side of things. Look, what are we, six weeks into the season, and we're talking about Morgan Knowles leaving to go to Australia. It's almost like the whole game at the minute in a transition. Players are all over the place. They're all signing these contracts left, right and centre. It'd be a sad day when Morgan Knowles goes, but as we said about the wingers a couple of minutes ago, there are probably replacements there waiting in the wings, waiting for their chance. Who once said never write off the Saints?
Also on Friday night we had Salford beating Bradford, and a good win for Salford with everything that's going on. As we sit here now, we don't know what's going on. Hopefully this takeover money is about to drop, but who knows? We don't know, do we?
No, so for the players, it's multiplied by a lot, isn't it? From what they're feeling, what they've been going through.
It's mortgages and families and all sorts.
It's been months and months. So what I would say is fair play to the lads who went on that field, especially Chris Hill and Jack Ormonroyd. They're 80 minutes each in the front row. Incredible feat. Chris Hill's done that a few times, but he is 37 now. So to have that sort of character and resilience under the mental strain that they're under at the moment is commendable. I think them as a club are in desperate situation, but the players, time and time again, and Paul Rowley and Kurt Haggerty are doing a great job of keeping the team together and actually getting them on the field and getting these fixtures done. So fair play, because that Bradford side are a very, very well stacked Bradford side, and probably as good as they've had in the last decade.
Yeah, knocked out Cass as well, didn't they, in the previous round?
Yeah, they beat Huddersfield in the pre-season. They're a very good side. They're going well in the Championship. You look down the list, all them players have played Super League as well at some point in their career. So that's a great result for the Red Devils.
And Eddie, we just need this uncertainty at Salford ending, don't we?
It's got to stop soon. It has to. I agree 100% with what Kevin said. You've got to take your hat off to the players. With all this distraction, as you say, there's mortgages, there's bills to pay, there's food to find, there's kids to look after, and they have gone out, particularly in the cup tie, and they've won, which is great news for them and for the club. What worries me is they're going to Catalan Dragons in the next round, so what will that do to the club's finances in a month's time? Anyway, let's look at that as and when. But the players have done fantastically well to keep their mind on the job. I feel so sorry for Paul Rowley. He had a top six side and it's just systematically being taken away from him. What worries me most is that we hear nothing from anyone in control and in charge about what's going on. Silence is golden. You remember it, Mark. I don't know whether Kev, the Tremolos sang it, didn't they, all those years ago. Silence is anything but golden as far as Salford are concerned. Ryan Brierley came out yesterday and said it's been horrific, and that he still had to go out and play, put his body on the line and get Salford into the next round of the Cup, and hopefully one of these weeks get a couple of points on the board in the Betfred Super League table. I mean, it's
You've got to feel for the fans as well. They've created a great squad.
Yeah.
Mark Sneed's been ripped out. There's rumours that there's Nene, Lafayette, all this talent.
Gone.
All this talent that they've put together and assembled and really started to make waves. It's tragic times for the club.
Let's just hope when we're broadcasting next week we're talking about good news coming out of Salford. Hull KR beat Oldham on Friday night, but Saturday, half time it was Wigan 22, Hull 6. You were covering it for the BBC. Did you see that second half coming?
I don't think anyone did. I think there was a lot of drunk Hull FC fans even didn't see it at half time. There was the usual feeling at the Brick Community Stadium when Wigan get in front. It was just how many are we going to score in the second half, and we're looking at Bevan French and Jay Fields put on a show, but a couple of injuries and they look really, really beatable. And I thought Aidan Caesar on the night was just
in
terrific.
the second half especially.
I think
he
that's
was
the
awesome.
best I've ever seen him play.
He ran the show in the second half, didn't he?
He did. I watched him at a couple of clubs, and when he were in Australia, we were playing like that. But the way that he dragged his team, I thought it was a real captain's knock, because it didn't all go well for him. In the start of the game, he missed a couple of kicks, but his kicking game in general, his try assist that he created. Lewis Martin was fantastic, and I actually picked the man of the match or the player of the match for the game. And I felt sorry not giving it to Lewis Martin, but Aidan Caesar was that good.
Especially the second half, he was awesome.
But let me tell you, I've not been around a Wigan stadium like that for a long, long time. Obviously, they're used to winning now, and having it dragged away from them in that fashion must have been difficult to take.
22-6 up at half-time.
I know, half-time, I'm sitting there and watching it and listening to Kevin and thinking, it's going to be a tough second half for you, this, to try and build this up when they're so far ahead. And they're going to, they're on such good form, they're going to win everything again this year. They're going so well. They've had Vegas, they've had all of that. And, I thought this is going to be a real struggle for Hull. Bang, out they came. This young man who scored the
Lewis Martin,
yeah. I mean, he took on Bevan French, one of our best players, one of the best players in Super League, both quick and defensively. He beat him, he turned him inside out, and he beat him for speed down the wing to score in the corner. Magnificent, absolutely magnificent try from him, and they thoroughly deserved it. Kevin won't remember 1985, and I could tell that because you never mentioned it once on Saturday, when Wigan beat Hull in the classic Wembley final. For me, this ran it very close. It was a classic match, and for Hull to go to Wigan and win by that margin after being so far behind at half-time, sensational. We all thought John Cartwright, when he came over, would weave the magic and wave a magic wand.
Well, I mean, this is a team that finished bottom last year, didn't it?
Yes.
Well, joint bottom.
Absolutely. They were awful last year. Dreadful. This has come out of nowhere, and he has to take a lot of credit, but I mean, I don't know how he didn't give it to Lewis Martin, the man of the match. I really don't know. But, that's a half-back.
It's a winger's job. Put the ball down.
It's the half-back's
created it.
That's what it is here. That's what we've got going here. But they were really, really good. And there was a couple of others, that you could
Herman Esse, I think he's kicked on again. I think Richie Myler deserves a big pat on the back. He's transformed that club for me. Obviously there's there's a purse behind him as well with Andrew, but
after where they were last season,
it's chalk and cheese.
And what about 4 weeks ago, Wigan hammered them in their own backyard as well, didn't they?
Yeah, no one saw this coming, and I think that's what makes it even more special.
Did Wigan put the queue on the rack, do you think? Did they say, we've got this? And they had a couple of injuries, didn't they?
The injuries...
Jay Field was obviously
Jay Field went off, Cade Ellis went off, and Adam Kieran, who was playing at 6, was on one leg. So there was excuses. I wouldn't say it's reasons. I think Matty Peter...
You still don't expect that at home,
at 20 points to 4, you could put the reserve side out, and at Wigan, you'd expect them to defend the victory, and they couldn't do that.
So credit Hull, fair play, credit Hull for that.
Also on Saturday, Callahan beat Featherstone, but Widnes pushed Warrington all the way.
Yeah, and maybe again, both these sides who struggled at the weekend played in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, and I think, after the Easter period, as a player, you was always ready for that next week because you expected it. But the week after, I always thought caught up with you. Maybe this is a bit of a hangover from Las Vegas, because Warrington have been poor for the last 3 weeks. I know they got the win, but they'll be really disappointed that they only won by 2 scores. But isn't it great watching that, being back the derby with Widnes? It's such a special derby, and the hatred is still there, let me tell you.
Lee beat Batley, Wakefield beat Huddersfield. I tell you what, Daryl Powell's ticking along nicely, isn't he?
He's doing a great job as well, isn't he? I mean, he left Warrington having arrived from Castleford as the Messiah. He was going to do all sorts at Warrington. It didn't work out. He had a great start, didn't he? 8 or 9 on the run at the start of his first season, and everyone thought, here we go, this is going to be Warrington's year, and it fell apart dramatically. But he's gone back to Wakefield and he's reinvented himself. Maybe he just likes the Yorkshire air, I don't know whether that's the case or not, but he has reinvented himself, and he's reinvented the club in a brand new stadium, almost new stadium with all the development that's going on. A few bob behind him, and they're playing really, really well, as they proved the week before as well. They beat Warrington, didn't they, the week before?
Yep.
So they're now on a bit of a roll, and good on Darryl. 2017 was a marquee year for him and a marquee year for Castleford. I wonder what they think, in Castleford, what he's doing up the road at Wakefield now.
a cracking draw as well. So we've got Catalan Salford, Wakefield versus Lee on Friday the 4th. Then Saturday, look at that, live on the BBC, the Hull derby. And then Sunday, another cracker, Warrington versus St Helens. And I tell you what, when you look at the draw, Salford also got a really tough trip away to Catalan, but Salford, for all their issues, are 2 games off Wembley. Wakefield, in theory, are 2 games off Wembley. Lee, 2 games off being back to Wembley as well. And we've got the Hull derby and Warrington versus St Helens. I tell you what, there's 2 blockbusters and other teams thinking, hey, this could be our year.
Yeah, well, I think everyone was absolutely delighted when the domestic champs of everything last year got knocked out, and all the fans especially are thinking, we've got a chance here. And wouldn't it be a good story for Salford if they got round the issues, they got the cap back, and you wouldn't bet against them coming good in a knockout competition. I cannot wait for the Hull derby though. What a game that's going to be. With so much jeopardy and trapdoor style of football, I think it's going to be definitely a sellout and an incredible game.
Cracking draw.
Wonderful draw, and I was a bit disappointed to see the attendances over the weekend. I don't think there was one over 10,000. There wasn't one made 10,000. If Hull and Hull Kingston Rovers doesn't sell out that stadium, well, I'm a Dutchman. It's got to sell out. It surely has to sell out. It'll be a fantastic match. Hull Kingston Rovers have got a great recent record against the Black and Whites. Don't think they can get past them. Well,
they're a different team, aren't they?
Here's the chance for John Cartwright and co to get back on the horse as far as that's concerned. But Hull, you're talking about Salford getting to Wembley. I can see Hull KR at Wembley. I can see Hull KR doing a lot of damage to all the big names.
Well, that's their next step, isn't it? Yeah. They're so close. I think the next step is to take one out.
Very early days, but of course Hull KR top of the table. So the road to Wembley has just got a lot shorter.
Well, I've never been to a rugby match, so it's just cool to see it. I stayed in like Wembley as well.
Well, I've been coming 27 years on the bounce, so it's a given, isn't it? We're always trying to get people involved, yeah.
Oh, it's just fantastic. It's all very neutral, all the fans mixing together. It's just absolutely fantastic. Brilliant atmosphere, the lot. Superb.
Yeah. Rugby league at its best. Good people. Having a good time.
The rugby was great. Being with my mates, yeah, it was really good.
Incredible. It's just magical. Magical. You come to Wembley, it's a magical experience. It's fantastic.
Oh, the match experience was electric. Absolutely electric. I love the way that everybody gets on so well with each other. It's it's a real family feeling, whichever side you're on.
The trophy is handed to St Helens.
And now for Wakefield Trinity 2.
And it is this Wigan team that are the 2024 Betfred Challenge Cup winners, the Wigan Warriors.
Yeah, 3 games at Wembley. The holders, Wigan, are out. Those quarterfinals start on Friday, the 4th of April. Right, let's turn our attention to the Betfred Super League. Live on Thursday night, Salford versus Huddersfield.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You would expect Huddersfield to go there confident, but off the back of a poor start under Luke Robinson, they'll be disappointed, and they're almost a wounded animal. So I think, Salford off the back of a win, backs against the wall. I do think Huddersfield win this game just because of the quality on the field, but I think it'll be a real close contest.
I looked at the squads. I mean, I think Salford have only been able to name 18 men anyway. There's some big names in there. There's a lot of big names that we associate with Salford now missing. Mark Sneed's gone, Manny McDonald's gone. Tim Laffey apparently is on the skids, and he could be next out of the door. But I can't see. I'd like to see Salford doing something, but I can't see beyond the Huddersfield win for that one.
And then we turn to Friday night. They're going to be playing each other a bit in the near future. St Helens versus Warrington.
Yeah, and you'd like to think it's going to be an absolute classic. I think the fact that Saints are missing a couple of star players, and Mark Sneed potentially comes in for his debut. I think the way George Williams...
Good signing for Warrington?
Yeah, I think so. I think he gives them a clear direction, a proper kicking game, and he frees up George Williams. I think when George Williams plays alongside Harry Smith at international level, his game just goes through the roof, and I think he'll have that same continuity with Mark Sneed. So they're a real danger now. If you add him Mark Sneed's best performances into Warrington, they're a champion side. But Saints, You know, you look at Harry Robertson and some of the young players that are starting to come through. Obviously, Jack Wellsby's still there. We mentioned Tristan Saylor. I can't wait for this one. And like you said, it's a dress rehearsal. I think they play each other 3 times
in about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Including the Challenge Cup.
The Luke fixture. I mean, will either of them hold anything back? Bearing in mind the big prize that is coming up.
I don't think
later
they can afford to, can they? The way that they've both, you know, they both lost in the league last time out, so I think they'll both want to win.
Mark Sneed will bring something to Warrington. There's no doubt about it. They'll certainly bring a goal kicking to Warrington. I mean, he's such a good goal kicker, and I think that's a little bit underplayed in the modern game. The importance of the 2 points tagged on at the end and the penalty goals. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in a Warrington jersey. He's 34 though, isn't he? I mean, he's good age. But like red wine, maybe.
I think the way he plays, though, he doesn't rely on speed and agility.
No. And he organises.
Speed of thought,
and an organiser. And he will complement George Williams, no doubt.
Also on Friday night, Wakefield versus Hull. I think this is an interesting one, the way Wakefield have started, and obviously you want to see what Hull are like on the back of last week's great win.
Yes, exactly. And I just noticed on the trailer for Wembley, you know, Wakefield, 1895 Cup winners.
Yeah.
2023, Lee went to Wembley after the 1895 Cup victory at Wembley as well. Wakefield will be cock a hoop, as I said earlier on, and Darryl will have them going, I'm sure.
Wakefield Hull.
I think Hull may have had a bit of a party after the knocking Wigan out. The way that they were carrying on the field,
deserved it.
They do deserve it, and you have to celebrate your wins. So I just think Wakefield a little bit too strong. I think Hull FC. Potentially, you know, they put a lot into that game emotion-wise, so they may have a weekend where they just struggle a little bit.
2 games on Saturday, Castleford versus Catalans.
2 sides struggling, aren't they? You know, I know Catalan are still in the cup. Castleford, poor old Danny Maguire, I do feel sorry for him. Great player, you know, struggling as a coach down the jungle. I just hope that they come good for him in the not too distant, but it's a bit dodgy at the minute, and the Catalan Dragons, I mean, they've got to get going soon, haven't they? You know, they're too good a side.
They're showing signs. They beat Leeds. They put Featherstone to the sword. Sam Tompkins is back.
Arthur Morgan's gone though, hasn't he? They must be keeping their fingers crossed that Sam keeps fit.
Yeah, if he plays like he played at the weekend consistently, then it's a genius move. But I think the quality that they've got, they'll go to the jungle, and I completely agree with Eddie. Danny Maguire at the moment, the Casper Tigers are toothless, so I expect Catalans to go there and do a job on Cass.
Saturday evening, I think we've got a fascinating game, especially after last weekend. Leeds versus Wigan.
Yeah, well, but again, both sides need to bounce back, don't they? They're both expecting success. They're both out the Challenge Cup. Now, you know, they both need a win. I think both sides as well have got injuries. Andy Acker's out for 12 to 16 weeks. So I'm sure Jared O'Connor will come back in. But yeah, will Jay be fit? We saw the difference without him in the side, not just last week, but last year. So there's big question marks over this game, who wins the game. I expect Wigan to go there and be much better than they was. I think Matty Pete will be giving them a bit of a serve this week. And yeah, but Leeds at home, I think they'll be difficult to beat too.
I do, yeah, I agree with you, and you know, I just wonder, as far as Wigan are concerned, they did everything so right in the first half and did everything so wrong in the second half against Hull. You're right, Matty Pete, you would think would be reading the riot act to them, but they both desperately, well, Leeds I think desperately need a victory. When we had this game on Sky when I was working for them, it was always the marquee fixture of the season, you know, big crowd and big atmosphere, big name players. Well, here's the chance for Leeds under Brad Arthur to prove that they are a big club again. They are big name players and they can tangle with the best, because no matter what happened last weekend, Wigan are still the odds-on favourites, I think,
to see the best of Brodie Croft, aren't we? He needs to get going, and if he does get going, he was
brilliant at Salford, wasn't he?
Oh, he was outstanding every week. He was outstanding, man of steel. Yeah. If he can get anywhere near that level again, and I think he needs to. He's been there long enough now. He's been under a couple of coaches. If he can really pull his A game out, then Wigan could be in for another tough evening.
Will he miss Ackers, do you think? I mean, he will have played a lot with Jared anyway.
Yeah,
now, won't he?
I think Leeds will miss Ackers, but Brodie Croft may play better given the service that Jared O'Connor gives him.
And then Sunday, Hull KR versus Lee. Hull KR really so far built on last season, haven't they?
Well, this for me is the tie of the round. I know what Eddie's saying with Leeds and Wigan, but two form sides.
I think Lee are decent this time.
I love watching the new signings, Tessinu, Isaac Liu, and the man himself, David Armstrong. I think he's...
How good is he at fullback?
Oh, well, he couldn't get in the Australian game because of the best fullback in the world.
He makes it look so easy, doesn't he, as well?
But he looks like a 12-year-old kid. He's that thin and that small, but the way and he's so tough. He bounces out of tackles, he's got so much speed. But it's his creativity as well. He creates tries, he scores tries. This is going to be a game where attack is just going to be unbelievable to watch, and one I can't wait.
Yeah, and I mean, Lee, we're all talking about, you know, the new man in charge at the RFL, Nigel Wood, and hoping against hope that he can regenerate the sport and build it up and get it back to where it was. There's a fellow at Lee, Derek Beaumont. I mean, if you want, you know, the showman, there he is.
Yeah, no, we had him in here. The leopard print for me, it was genius.
Absolutely.
When you go to the games, there's all the people wearing leopard. It's brilliant.
Leopard skins, and he's got all his cars done out in leopard skins.
You can't knock
well.
him. He's got him trophies. He's getting the stadiums.
It's marketing as well.
That's the word. Marketing. As much as what happens on the field, marketing around the ground. That is what it's all about. Obviously, if you're not winning, they're not going to come. The supporters. There's no doubt about that. But Derek's got the best of both worlds at the moment. And I think he's done a fantastic job at Lee. I really do over the past few years.
He's clearly got a team as well, hasn't he?
He's got a great team and he's got a great coach. I think Adrian Lamb is showing what he's made of. He was at Wigan and he was a post away from winning a grand final, and he left, and I think he's already got one trophy. He's resembled a team, and I'm sure the recruitment, you know, the players that he's bringing over from Australia, not many times we've heard of them, and he's just pulling, like Edwin Ipape, people like that are just getting better and better.
And all the others go and pinch them.
Yeah.
You know.
Gents, have enjoyed your comment. Let's just finish on the Betfred Challenge Cup. So we've got 4 cracking quarter-finals in a couple of weeks to look forward to. The holders are out. Who wins the Betfred Challenge Cup then?
Oh, there's the 64. Well,
you're allowed to answer this now. Now you're not commentating.
I know.
I can ask you these questions.
Well, I would have answered it anay.
No, you wouldn't have done. You'd have.
No, I'd give it to the ball fella. I never write off the Saints, but they've got a tough tie against Warrington. Hull KR went so close in the grand final last year. This could be the step for them. I don't know.
He said them all.
Yeah. No, that's what he used to do. And Lee might go back there. You know, we've only got 2 left.
I think Hull KR at home, healthy squad. They've got the experience and the you know, the feeling in the stomach of what it's like to lose. I think they go there and win it this year.
There we are. There we are. It was a brilliant weekend for the Betfred Challenge Cup. This week it's the Betfred Super League is back. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
This is my time.